when a cop fatally shoots a family's dog a month after killing a dog. What a coincidence. Iowa, Davenport police officer Ethan Bock fatally shot a family dog in front of its horrified owners just 1 month after he ran over and killed another pet. This is, well, shocking coincidence, but let's dig deeper. August 21st, Bock is seen opening fire on the animal after it ran across the yard and jumped at him outside the home in Davenport. Officer fired off 2 shots, despite the mother being just a few feet from the line of fire. Young children and their mother are heard shrieking in horror as their black retriever mix called Myst writhes around in agony beside the front porch. The 2-year-old dog collapsed, died slowly on the ground, all as the mom, identified as Brandy Russell, and the 2 elementary school-aged children look on. Just horrible. Father of Russell's son, Don Heseltine, insisted the dog merely barked at the officer and shared the footage along with another clip recorded from a different angle as proof. Both were shared by the outraged father on social media, who was able to make out Brock's identity from one of the clips. One appears to show Brock's police vehicle approach Heseltine's son, his son's cousin, and the dog just before shooting while the boys were riding bicycles in the alley behind Heseltine's home. Bock reportedly went on to roll down the window to tell the boys they had to put Myst, the dog, on a leash. Heseltine said an exchange that caused the boys to drop their bikes in the alley and began walking toward the house alongside the dog. The footage showed Bock is then seen exiting the car while staring at the boys, after which Myst runs back toward him, barking. That's what dogs do. A young officer who joined the force last year, Bock is seen bending to meet the dog, who responds by briefly stopping barking before beginning again. Bock then reaches for his hip, extends his hand before letting off the 2 shots, leading Myst to run back through the yard toward the house before falling over. This is sick. Daily Mail giving us the harrowing details here. A few weeks before, the same officer struck and killed another man's unleashed dog with his police cruiser. Body-worn camera footage after the smash. Bock tells the owner, "That's why you got to have your dog on a leash, bro." Wow. Davenport Police Department confirmed to our Quad Cities News that we're conducting an internal review of the incident. Could they speed that up a little? Because in the meantime, he's now brandished his service weapon and shot and killed a retriever in front of children and a mother. It occurred the night of July 13th, where Lucinda Spears' dog, Muneka, struck and killed by the officer's squad car in the alleyway behind her home. "I needed that dog," Spears told our Quad City News, revealing the police department offered $1,700 as compensation for killing the dog July 30th. The offer came shortly after she first spoke to the paper that same day, after a week of the department allegedly giving her and her family differing stories about what happened. Spears was supposedly told her witnesses were not credible, as her brother, C. Edward Spears, was taking out the trash at about 10 p.m. to the alleyway behind the buildings when he encountered Bock. Same time, another brother was taking Muneka out to do her business, creating a perfect storm that culminated with Muneka's death. He comes speeding down, so I stepped in front of the police car. I say, "Stop," so the dog can come out. So he stops. C. Edward Spears told the local paper the dog goes out into the field, and a few seconds go by, and another police car comes up speeding as well. And by this time, the dog had used the bathroom already and is on the way back. I step out again. I'm like, "Stop the dog." So he stops. He acknowledges me. Then he speeds up and goes. After running over the dog, the statements, "Well, that's why you got to have your dog on a leash, bro," Brock tells him. He is heard telling his comrades over the radio, "Hey, I'm 10-2. Some frickin' dog just ran out here and I smoked it." At a point, a sergeant who arrives is heard admonishing Bock, telling him, "You got to say that different on the radio." "Say what different?" Bock asked in reply. You said you smoked a dog, the sergeant says. Oh, I did? Bock responds. Yeah, the sergeant replies. As for the more recent incident, Davenport Police Department said in its statement that it is committed to taking the time to ensure all standards, policies, procedures of the department were followed. Davenport police are investigating the incident. Additional information will be released as it becomes available. I don't believe that. I'm not even sure they're investigating. Look what they did the first time around. Hey, man, chill. You got to say that different. We can't really cover things up if you say the quiet part out loud over the radio. That's what I heard anyway, my interpretation. Now, the Hasseltimes, meanwhile, have since put Myst to rest with a burial, with Don sharing a photo of the two boys who witnessed the dog's death, son Maverick, nephew Ezra, paying their respects. Took Maverick and Ezra to see Myst yesterday. We put up a cross and planted flowers. I told Maverick Myst would always be by his side, he said. I know, Dad. I can still feel him. Sick. Sick and unnecessary and cruel. I wouldn't want someone like this who lacks judgment. Let's forget, I think there's more than just a lack of judgment, but you can't be an officer on my watch. He added in a separate post to social media in which he tagged the Davenport Police Department. Thanks to the coward murderer cop who shot and killed the family dog in front of the kids. Hope the memory that my child will forever have of this moment haunts your punk A. R.I.P. Myst, you were our best friend, dude. As of writing, his petition calling for Bock to face repercussions has received nearly 2,000 signatures. Investigation into the incident remains underway. Jeffrey Bladell is the chief of the Davenport Police Department. Now, I don't want animals abused. I'm not, aggressively into animal rights, but I don't know why you would do this. And I find this situation, both of them, abusive. And I believe the witnesses. I believe the witnesses are very credible, if you will. And then part of me says, Woes, 2,000 people signed the petition. They want Bock to face repercussions. I think he should be fired and nowhere near the force. The other part of my mind goes to this, with cause, I believe, that if that were a black man instead of a dog, I don't know that we'd have 2,000 signatures, maybe, but that's among the reasons. If he cannot deal with man's best friend in a humane way, I don't want this person with a badge and a gun. And by the way, shooting Myst, the family dog, the retriever, in front of kids with a mother who says she was mere feet away. I think this is disgusting and it's a judgment issue first. What say you?
I honestly, and this is gonna sound crazy to some people, I think the shooting is a little bit more justified than what he did in the car. I think there's a way that somebody could say, "Hey, I'm really scared of dogs. This thing's off the leash. I don't know this dog. I thought I was about to be attacked.
A
Whatever."
police
I don't think,
officer?
yeah, I don't think it's credible, but I think it's a way of explaining something that you did. On the other hand, in your car, you run these people's dog over, whether you have a love for dogs or not, just some humanity in you, just knowing that these people, you've killed a loved member of these people's family, and your reaction is to be all like brazen and callous over your radio to the point where your own colleague has to step in and say, bro, like, it's just not how you report this. To me, that speaks even worse of the guy. Like, you can't even say you were in danger, you thought your life was flashing before, you thought this guy was gonna chomp on your arm or something ridiculous like that. You were in your car, you were speeding recklessly, you killed their dog. And instead of being like, hey man, I'm sorry, like, hey, we need to get somebody down here immediately, like these people need some help, like we need people to respond, like I've made a grave mistake here, blah 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 blah. It's like, oh, freaking dog got in the way. Like, that's, to me, that just speaks to the guy's character right there, that whether you love dogs or not, just understanding what these people are going through in that moment and not just being able to be a human being right in an instance is just all you need to know about this Joker.
Yeah. And I would quibble a little bit because if he's so afraid of dogs, he was in his car in the second incident too. He rolled up on some kids who were riding a bicycle. He got out of the car, Mr. I'm so afraid of dogs, potentially. And I don't know if you can be a police officer if you're that afraid of dogs,
We might need to
because
get you on
the
the
work
force because you just
involves,
dissected his whole story, Sharon. We
right,
need
but
you to
the
be on a
work
police officer.
involves dealing with people, animals, a lot of different things. So, respectfully to all people out there who, through no fault of their own, may be afraid of these four-legged friends, and I don't believe a bit of what he's the dog. Stop it. He's lying. He's a liar and a vicious dog killer, in my opinion. But if that's who you are, you can't be on the force. And it doesn't jibe with the first incident now, does it? As you respectfully pointed out, Woes, it just doesn't add up. This guy is a problem. And if the Davenport Police Department cannot see that he's giving you a warning, he's giving you a heads up of what's to come. Oh, now my mind goes back to the black man. We'll keep following the story, tell you what happens to Officer Bock. He doesn't belong on the force anymore.